So the first topic I want to talk about is that it has been confirmed that Banner's comeback as Doctor Strange won't be in Banner's Doomsday, but he will have a big role in Secret Wars. The report was saying he was originally going to have a big role in Avengers Doomsday when Kang was the main villain and we're doing the whole Kang storyline, but since what happened with that actor and the fact they basically are canon that whole storyline and making Doctor Doom the main villain now with Robbie Downey Jr., it sounds like he just wasn't gonna have a big role anymore in that movie. He's not gonna be in the movie at all. Now, when it comes to the idea of him not being Avengers Doomsday, I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, if you watch the Multiverse Madness, it obviously was set up for him with the incursions that he was going to play a big role in Multiverse Saga, and it sounds like in Secret Wars in the second Avengers movie, he will be, so he'll still play a role in this Multiverse Saga. He just won't be in both Avengers movies. And look, I love the Doctor Strange character. I love Benedict Cumberbatch as a role. I know there's reports going around, rumor reports that they're going to start shooting Doctor Strange 3 in 2026 and Shang-Chi 2. You know, those are rumors. I don't know if I really completely believe them since there's been nothing actually like announced that they're doing a Doctor Strange 3. And I have trouble kind of believing if they're going to be able to get out another Doctor Strange movie before the next two Avengers, maybe. But I don't really completely buy into those reports, to be honest, because there's been nothing officially confirmed. When it comes to him not being in Avengers Doomsday, I don't have a problem with it because it comes down to, for me personally, you know, if they don't feel like he needs to be in the movie for story reasons, I just don't feel like there's really not enough in that movie for him to play a big role, and I'm perfectly fine with that. You know, both Avengers movies are going to have a lot of characters, I'm guessing, and you know, you're not going to be able to have every character. And if he was originally going to have a big role because of the Kang stuff and the canon that stuff, obviously now, then I understand him not having to be in both Avengers movies. And I also would say this about Doctor Strange: he's not really part of Avengers in the MCU. You know, the Avengers don't exist right now. I do think Captain America: Brave New World is going to set up a new Avengers. But he's not like he's part of the Avengers Doctor Strange. Like, even the Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, he's not part of the actual team. I don't think even in the comics he's really part of the Avengers team. Like, he's been part of the team in the comics. And correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I don't follow the comics too much, so he probably could be. He probably was part of Avengers in the comics, but I just don't remember him ever being part of that team in the comics. But if you go by the MCU, you know, he's more of a Doctor Strange seems to be more like a the MCU that kind of like helps out when he's needed, but he's not really. Like I said, in MCU, he's not part of the Avengers. He's not actually like a member of the team. So like I don't really have a problem with it if it makes sense for the story. Like if I watch Avengers Doomsday and I feel like, oh man, you really need him to be part of that movie. And again, he's going to play a big role in Secret Wars, report is saying, so he'll still play a big role at the end of the Multiverse Saga. Like, I'll be more worried if they said, oh, he's not going to be in neither of the two movies. I'll be like, that's kind of weird. But, you know, I don't really have a problem with it personally if it makes sense for the story. If I, like, and obviously Marvel has to change a lot of stuff because of the Kang and stuff with the actor, and I think even in Ant-Man and Quantumania, even watch Quantumania, even kind of hurt, to my opinion, hurt the Kang storyline even more because you have one of the versions of Kang get beaten by Ant-Man and ants in that movie, so I think that was really the biggest plunder in MCU's history when it comes to the biggest mistake they made, where you kind of made Kang look weak in that movie. In my opinion, you did make him look weak in that movie to a point where if you have a version of him getting beaten by Ant-Man and ants, I think just coming out of that movie, I just didn't feel like he was really a threat anymore anyway. So, but when it comes to like Doctor Strange not being in Avengers Doomsday, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with it if it makes sense for the story. If it feels like that his character doesn't even need to be in there for story reasons, and it doesn't have a place for his character in the movie, then I'm fine with that. Like I don't know what story they're going for Avengers Doomsday. You know, you don't know what they obviously have to change the plans because it's not going to be the Kang storyline anymore. It's going to be Doctor Doom as the main villain. So if the plot for the movie is where they don't feel like they need to have Doctor Strange be part of that story, that movie at least, then I'm perfectly fine with it if it makes sense for the story. You know, it comes down to like what story they're going for, and I have, you know, like I haven't there's like nobody's we haven't seen much from Avengers Doomsday yet to say whether Doctor Strange needs to be part of that movie or not. So at least for right now, I don't really have a problem with it personally. You know, we'll see when we see more stuff about like the details of what the plot of Avengers Doomsday is going to be, and we have to see stuff from the movie because, like I said, right now it's just we don't really know anything about where they're going with Avengers Doomsday yet. The next thing is the Toxic Avenger movie that Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones did. It is going to be released this year in theaters. There's not a date. It just says it's going to be put in theaters this year, which I'm happy about that. I've never seen the original Toxic Avenger movie. I know it was like a low budget movie. I think it was like one of those trauma movies where they made a lot of low budget movies. But I'm happy for this because this movie was like completed like a few years ago, and then it got kind of put on the shelf, and it sounded like it wasn't never going to be released. So I'm happy, you know, I'm happy for the people that made the movie. I've never seen the original Toxic Avenger, so I don't feel one way or another when it comes to excitement for this movie because I'm not familiar with the original movie. But I am happy for the people who put a lot of work into that movie, and that movie is going to be actually coming out. So I'm glad for the people who worked on the movie. Next thing is that reports going around that Ryan Gosling is in talks to be in Shawn Levy's Star Wars movie. Which, if this happens, like I said, it's just reports going around he's in talks. He hasn't been cast in the movie. Like he's just saying he's in talks to maybe play the lead role. If he ends up being in a Star Wars movie, a Shawn Levy one, which I'm really excited for based on the track, even though we don't really know any details about it yet. I think that would be great because he's a great actor. I love Ryan Gosling. He's a great actor. I loved him in a lot of movies. And I always say this, you know, all I care about at the end of the day is that person a great actor? And he is a great actor. So if he, you know, if it was announced that he was going to be in Shawn Levy's Star Wars movie, whether as a lead role or supporting character, I would definitely be excited for that. The next topic is Disney is working on a new Prince of Persia movie. Which, you know, I'm excited for this because I do love the games, but that Jake Gyllenhaal one from years back, that to me, I thought that was a terrible video game movie. So I hope this one's better. Like, you know, there's been some good video game movies lately. With like I love Sonic 3, and I enjoyed the first two Sonic movies, and there's been some decent video games lately, but that first person movie was terrible, and I just hope they do a better job with the new movie. Like if it just says it's in development, it's in the works, a new Prince of Persia movie, which makes sense to me. It is a popular game series, and I just hope the second attempt is better than the first attempt. The next thing is that James Gunn said that he is going to come up with a like title opening sequence for the Elseworlds movies, like the Batman and the Joker movies, which I think that makes total sense because I do think you need to. I don't like to me. You don't want to have the same opening title sequence if these movies, since these movies aren't going to be part of the DC universe, they're going to be their own stories. Which I am happy that they're doing Elseworlds movies too. Like I think that's what I would love to see Marvel do that, which is do your universe movies, but also have your Elseworlds movies where you can kind of like tell your own stories that aren't connected to anything. And I'm definitely curious to see what the title sequence they're going to come up with for the Elseworlds DC movies. And I think it's a good way to distinguish itself from the DC Universe movies that James Gunn is creating. The last topic is that the Michael Jackson biopic, which I'm really excited about, is apparently going to be doing some reshoots with this third act. And it has to do with legal stuff. Like the story, I think from what I heard, has to do with the fact that the third act deals with something when it comes to because obviously there's been, there was a lot of stories about Michael Jackson with him and kids back then, and whether those stories are true or not, who knows? But it says like that they have to do reshoots because of legal reasons, and it has to do with, I think it's with like with one of the, I guess the third act in the movie was gonna like kind of deal with some of the negative stuff with Michael Jackson you've heard about, and it sounds like the whole third act is gonna be reshot. And the only thing here we go, was it said it was accused of sexually abusing a 13-year-old. And it says here, according to multiple sources, there's agreement that it can never be messing or traumatized in a movie. So it sounds like it has to deal with that element of Michael Jackson. That was the negative side that you heard kind of about him. The only thing I'm worried about is that if this like affects the quality of the biopic movie, or I don't know, they're going for like a documentary biopic like combination style, or it's gonna be more like a documentary or biopic. But when it comes to Michael Jackson movie, I just hope the movie still ends up being good, because I am really excited for this movie because I love Michael Jackson's music. I'm not gonna go into like the stuff you heard about him with kids and all of that. I just, like I said, I hope this doesn't affect the quality of the movie. Like I'm definitely excited for it, and a little worried about the fact they're doing reshoots, and if that's gonna like feel like when you watch the movie, if it's gonna feel like you cut something out, or we'll see. But I am excited for the Michael Jackson movie, and it definitely, I'm definitely curious, like what exactly they're going to be taking out of the movie, and how, if it's going to affect the quality of the movie or not. So that's all my thoughts today. Until next time, movie fans.